Bruv, Frank Warren is pissed. He's having the worst couple of weeks of his life. Imagine your number one prospect in Daniel Dubois, the guy that you said was going to be Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, and give Tyson Fury a run for his money. Just lost last week, and not even lost, he took the knee and quit. And imagine this week, Anthony Yard, and he loses this week. My goodness, you can't get any worse for Frank Warren. Happy 40th anniversary. But fam, let's get straight into this. Yo guys, welcome back to Off the Campus Boxing. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button, click a like on this video. It helps out a lot. I don't know how it does, but I know it helps out somehow. Also follow me on social media, on Instagram. I think we just started off with Twitter as well. I'm going to put it in the link in the description box below. Also follow me as well on Twitch on Off the Campus Boxing. But let's get straight into this. Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur. Now, a lot of people coming into this fight would literally writing off Lyndon Arthur. They would say Lyndon Arthur was going to get clean up on the floor. He was going to get knocked out in like the first half of the fight. And I'm telling you, I told people in my punch-up preview specifically that Lyndon Arthur is no joke. And if anything, Anthony Yard for me was going to win, but it was going to be a hard night for him. Coming into this fight, I had Anthony Yard winning this fight, but very marginally, okay? Because Lyndon Arthur, I understood that he had a good jab, he had good footwork and skills, and fighting for Manchester, and I heard a lot of good things about him. So let's get straight into the fight. Coming up to the first couple of rounds, I had Lyndon Arthur winning the first 3 rounds convincingly. And then Anthony Yard sort of clawed it back on the fourth round, but the fourth round was sort of a 50-50 bout. So I'm really undecided with that. Coming then onto the 4th and 5th, I gave it to Anthony Yard. Moving swiftly on. The 6th, I gave it to Lyndon. On the 7th, I gave it to Yard. At 8th, Yard. 9th, Lyndon. 10th, Yard. 11th Lyndon, and 12th Yard. Literally, it was like, for me, they were bouncing off each other. Like, one was winning one round, the other one was winning the other round. And for me, like, it was a very, like, in the end, it was a score draw. That's how I had it. Okay, 6 rounds to 6 each. For me, that was a fair sort of score to give them both. Lyndon Arthur overall was sort of applying the jab, and from a distance he was stepping back, using his footwork and his movement, hitting him with a couple of like single jabs, not throwing a lot of right hands in particular. And after the match, after the fight, he went on to then say that something was wrong with sort of the right hand. It looked like as though it was sort of injured or something, but really and truly, I'm not sure if it was tactical or whether he got injured. It's still a bit really unclear. It looks on the injured side, but nevertheless, he threw not a lot of right hands. The right hands that he did throw was really, really effective and threw him at the perfect time. If he had doubled up, or not doubled up, but if he had increased in the activity on that right hand for an extra 2 or 3 more times, I believe that he could have won a few of the closer rounds that I had Anthony Yard winning. Okay. So I had it at a score draw. If anything, I was really favourable to Anthony Yard. I had Lyndon Arthur for me. If someone put in the gun to my head and said, who do you think won? For me, I would have said Lyndon Arthur. He was the better fighter overall. He threw the more successful jabs. He threw the more successful right hands in particular. And if anything, if I had to go to anyone, it would have been Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur for me, very underrated. Trains in up north in Manchester in the sort of Zelfa Barrett gym. He trained by Zelfa Barrett's uncle, so he's like, and you could tell by the fight, Zelfa Barrett's uncle, of course, I think his name's Barry or something, but Barry's Barrett or something, or something Barrett, I forgot his name, but he used to be a very good fighter back in the day, knockout artist himself, and he instilled a lot of sort of great tactics with Lyndon Arthur. So great performance from Lyndon himself. AY, I'm not sure whether he had a bad performance or whether he had, in my opinion, a 7 out of 10 performance. Not great, but not really poor. And I think Lyndon Arthur had like a 7.5 performance or 7.2 performance. You know what I mean? So they were quite close in sort of matchups and sort of ability. Both fighters could have done a little better. Yard could have cut the ring off, but it's very difficult to cut the ring off against a fighter who's very skillful at moving around the ring. Lyndon Arthur, that's sort of his strong suit, moving around the ring, staying out of range, clipping you with a jab and keeping it moving. That's what he was doing this whole time. Okay, and it proved quite effective, to be fair. Really, really effective. Moving on to Tunde Ajayi. Now, after the fight, look, I was on a call-in show with the Undefeated podcast. If you haven't done it already, head over there and click the subscribe button. They're the funniest guys out there. Travis himself being one of the co-hosts, and KG. Travis, he's a comedian, and also KG is a comedian themselves. Of course, Travis is well renowned. Like, his mother was sort of a legendary comedian in the game as well. And also KG himself does the warm up act for the Big Nasty show as a comedian. So follow those two guys as well on Instagram and on YouTube. I think it's the Undefeated podcast. Okay, and a lot of people were really going into Tunde Ajayi, and from my perspective, it's really uncalled for. Really uncalled for. Tunde Ajayi, for me, is exactly what Anthony Yard needs. Anthony Yard needs Tunde Ajayi, and vice versa, in my opinion. Okay, Tunde Ajayi deserves a lot more respect, and his knowledge of the game is second to none. Is overconfidence a bad thing? Is over positivity a bad thing? A lot of the boxing community, and I'm going to say this quite frankly, are sort of pessimists. Okay, they believe it's their way or the highway. If any trainer is bad, or it seems to them as being bad, they'll throw the towel in with them. If they believe that a fighter quits or a fighter loses, they're done and dusted, and they should be sent to the cemetery and no longer be seen again. They see themselves to a level that has got to the world top of the stage, so the top 5 or 10 in each governing body or each sort of ranking. Okay, and they both did that alone. If anything, the only thing that I would sort of suggest, in my opinion, is bringing in somebody that has trained rangy fighters that have got like a tall, long reach and keep a good distance. After the fight, they went on to doing the BT Sport interview, and Anthony Yard was sort of very frustrated, and he believed that he got robbed. And from my perspective, he didn't necessarily get robbed. Now, robbery for me was the Rachel Ball versus Shannon Courtney fight. Okay, robbery for me was Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, the first fight. That's, to me, the robbery. A robbery is where something is like a clear decision, and it goes the other way for whatever reason, or for whatever circumstances. Okay, whether it be the crowd, etc. This fight wasn't really a robbery. In my opinion, you could have gave it to both fighters, and like any of which, and you could have gave it a draw, and I would have been happy with both of them. After the fight, they were talking about having a rematch with Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yard, and hopefully behind a stadium or something. There's a lot of fans, O2 or something like that. It would be really good for those two to rematch. Hopefully, AY goes back to training camp and goes back to the drawing board and learns from this, And for me, Tunde Ajayi should not leave the camp. In fact, in my opinion, they should add to the camp, similar to how Anthony Joshua and Rob McCracken, they added somebody else to the camp when they were fighting the Ruiz rematch. They should do something similar to that. Okay, never ever lose that core group of people that have got you to that extreme, that very high level. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about it. In the end, the biggest loser is Frank Warren. He must be pissed. Blood, that guy is pissed. That guy's had a rough couple of weeks, and I feel for him. He needs a holiday. He needs a good massage, a good chiropractor. He needs as much of a break as any person. Okay, more than anyone else in the sport of boxing, the person who needs the biggest break is Frank Warren. Congratulations on his 40 years anniversary. Congratulations on that achievement. This has been your Ringside reaction. So if you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button and drop a like on this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of who you thought won and who you thought, like, what you thought of Anthony R's comments in the end. Okay, and also follow me on social media. Okay, the links are in the description below. But peace, love and prosperity, guys, and I'm gonna catch you guys in a bit. Peace.